Hello, church. I'm very happy to be here tonight. It's been a while since I've been here, and I'm so happy about it because I spent so much time away from y'all now, and it's a real drag. It really is. You know, I feel like I get separated. Holly told me, I asked for this 5 weeks ago, and that's kind of the theme of what I've got going tonight is how quickly things pass because 5 weeks went by just like that. And so what I want to get into is what it means to fear God. Now, I've struggled, not struggled, but I never really understood it because, I mean, when I hear the word fear, it denotes negativity. You know, you think to fear God, you should be afraid, but that's not what fear God means at all. And my favorite book of the Bible is Ecclesiastes. I'm really drawn to this book, and I read it all the time. And so I hope I can get this out pretty good because I do read it all the time. So Ecclesiastes explains to fear God. To fear God means to revere, worship, and serve God, to turn from evil, and to turn in awe to the living God. It does not involve dread, but instead a proper respect for and obedience to our Creator, to respond to Him in awe and reverence and wonder, to serve Him in purity of action, and to shun evil and any worship of anything else. And purity of action, I mean, and that's kind of what I want to dwell on a little bit is, and this is going to swerve towards drugs and alcohol, because it always does with me. Okay, in Ecclesiastes, we read that he says, eat, drink, and enjoy life because it's all for a gift from God. You should know something about Solomon. Solomon he never deprived himself of anything. He had more money, more riches, more cattle, more sheep, more servants, more everything than anybody. So he had all the pleasures. So when he says this in here, because he wrote this book later in his life, and that was after he had reformed and he had reconfirmed his relationship with God. So, but when I read that, or up until probably this, I read it, eat, drink, and be merry. Well, man, they were drinking, and you know, Solomon said this. It's got to be okay, but it's not. It's not okay. It's not okay. And Solomon wouldn't say that after this. He wouldn't say that it was okay to eat and drink. But when I hear it, I hear eat and drink. Now I want to get on into that. As an addict, as an alcoholic and a drug addict, that's where my mind goes right away, you know. And so I start to think, you know, Solomon, when he reformed, he had the same thought that I have the same thought that maybe he did, is it's more difficult for a drug addict or an alcoholic to know that side of things and to not use or drink ever again. We'll never forget that. We'll never forget the memory of drinking, of drugs. You know, it was never a good time. I can't remember that if I ever had a good time. But we'll carry that memory with us for the rest of our life. Every experience that we've had with drugs and alcohol, we'll never forget. It'll always be with us. And so we're always going to have that temptation there. And so now as an addict in recovery and a Christian, start to examine things and start to say, well, how much is acceptable? How much evil is acceptable in my life where I can still be okay with God and still not be bored in my life or be, how am I going to get through life without something? Without something, you know what I mean? A little bit of my past, I mean, it can't be that bad. How come I can't smoke marijuana? I don't put dope in my arm anymore. You know what I mean? How come I can't drink a beer? I won't drink whiskey. I mean, how much is acceptable? Pornography. Because I don't view pornography any longer, can I watch a rated R movie? Can I? If I put a movie in and it says on there, it says graphic violence and nudity, is it okay to check it out? Is there a difference? And I say no. I say there is no difference. If you can't look at a woman's body and look at a woman in the same way. You objectify them. You turn them into something. You take away from their individuality, their personality. They're a child of God, and so there's nothing that's not acceptable there. You can't smoke marijuana and be okay with it. You can't not do it. They're the same thing. It's the same thing. Drugs are drugs, and you can't do it. That probably came out a little hard. Because I struggle with it. I mean, even me, I think, you know what I mean? If I could smoke weed, I would, wouldn't I? I might. You know what I mean? There's that chance that I would, you know? And I got to tell myself all the time, no, it's not cool. I cannot do it. I can't smoke weed. You know, but it still lives in my head, and it's from my past. It's because I smoked marijuana for my entire life. You know, and I think about it all the time, too. But so if it comes out a little hard, it's maybe because I struggle with that thought of myself. So, let's see. The theme of Ecclesiastics is how fast and how quickly life goes. When you read in here, vanity of vanities, when I hear the word vanity, I think outward appearance. You know, I think of somebody worried about how they look. But in Ecclesiastics, the word denotes the quickness of life, how quickly things pass. The teaching of the preacher, that's what they call Solomon. He was, I believe, King David's son. His teaching is to realize life is fleeting, thing that needs to be savored and enjoyed as a gift from God. Okay. So, Ecclesiastics, I'm just going to go here with 1. And I'm going to go from, well, what he says is everything that's been done or everything that's happening right now has already happened and will happen again. Nothing has changed since the days of old. The same root issues in humanity are still there and will still be there after we're gone. So I'm going to read this here. It says, what profit has a man from all his labor in which he toils under the sun? One generation passes away and another generation comes, but the earth abides forever. The sun also rises and the sun goes down and hastens to the place where it arose. The wind goes towards the south and turns around to the north. The wind whirls about continually and comes again on its circuit. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. To the place from which the rivers come, there they return again. All things are full of labor. Man cannot express it. So right here in 8, it says, the eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. Sorry, I should have got me some water. So it gives a reference, Proverbs 27:20, which when I read this, I mean, it really pounded it home because I didn't understand what that meant. I see it, 27:20. Hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of man are never satisfied. Now, to me, that says that everything around me, everything I'll see continuous evil everywhere I look for the rest of my life. I'll be covetous. I will be. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, brother. You got it open for me.
Yep.
Should just drink some of Frank's right here. By the way, that song Amazing Grace, man, wow, I just love it. I just love it. So where was I? Yeah, everything, I mean, we're not dealing with anything new. Crime, murder, rape, drugs, alcohol, homosexuality. It's been around since the beginning of time. Sodom and Gomorrah, that's all we are, is big old giant Sodom and Gomorrah. You know what I mean? And that, to me, that's what it says, that the eye is not satisfied with seeing or the ear filled with hearing. It goes on to talk about in here about suffering. brings wisdom and knowledge about, and it's true. And it's true because when we take our past lives, I mean, I don't know, I'm sure we're not all drug addicts and alcoholics, but I am. And when I take what I've lost in my life due to drugs and alcohol, when I take the loss of, I mean, I won't get into it, but there's been loss, you know, and there's been abuse, and there's been, and somebody told me that to thank God for that, which I never did. I never did. You know, I pitied myself and all that business. But I do thank God for it now, because now I understand. And once you understand the difference between light and darkness, and you know, then you have to do something about it, right? Because if you know and you don't do something, you make a conscious choice to use drugs and alcohol in your life, not only are you hurting yourself, but you're hurting your family. You're breaking hearts. You're destroying what God gave us everything. God, there's no coincidence that I'm a sheep herder. I tried to get a sheep herder job years and years ago, a couple times. Never could get one, you know? And all these years later, out of prison, and I come here, and I'm clean and sober, and I'm a sheep herder. You know what I mean? And that's not coincidental. It's not coincidental. It's a plan that I've got a job, that I get paid, the paycheck, that I have food, that I have my dogs, that I get to see what I see every day. That's all a gift from God. That's all God's plan. And I'm out there, and I get isolated, and it's tough sometimes to be isolated, you know, to be away from things. And that's why, but when I'm here, I think I'm a different person. I think, well, when I'm at church, I don't struggle, you know. When I'm at church, that's because I'm around you all. And when I come here, I am a different person. But when I leave here, I can't let that change me. I can't let my church family be the excuse or the reason that I fail or succeed, that I grow or not. You know, and I've talked about this with someone before, and it's really been on me. So, and that wasn't even on my topic. I'm sorry. Okay, but bending the gospel to accommodate disobedience. I mean, how much evil can we hang on to, right? How much is acceptable? Everything that we have in our life, our family, our kids, our job, we got to be happy with what we do with our labor. That's all. That's a gift from God. That's all that matters. If you're out there to try to seek fame, fortune, honor, all you'll gain is misery. All you gain is destruction. That's not from God. That's not a gift from God. That's worldly, and that's the more you have, the sadder you'll be. You know, it's simple. Love your wife, love your kids, love your job, spend your time with your family. Enjoy your labor. It's a gift from God. I enjoy being a sheep herder. All that other business will just bring you misery. Okay. Okay. So, okay, here it is right here. I remember. That's how quickly 5 weeks passed. You know what I mean? And I could come up with all kinds of excuses, but the truth is I'm just lazy. I'm just lazy. And so I get up in front of you and it shows, but I love you guys, and thank you for tolerating me. God will judge everyone, both the righteous and the wicked. Life cannot be lived with abandon. Can't be lived with abandon. It has to be purposeful. And the only meaningful things in our life is the simple things. Our family, our job, taking care of those that we love, sharing with others. Solomon says that he shared with 7 and the 8 because you gain enjoyment from that. When I share with you, I enjoy that. You know, it says both the righteous and the wicked. Life cannot be lived with abandon, as if God will not see or remember the deeds of the past. For on the final day he will call forth all men and women to account for their actions. The admonition to fear God and the expectation of divine judgment are the two great things of Ecclesiastics, and that's in the end, the wise man and the fool will all die. No matter who you are, you will die. But we go on for eternal life. It's not hard to be a Christian. It's not a sad thing. If we were in Thailand and being persecuted, then it might be something else, you know. But here we're not persecuted. I'll never, ever in my life, for the rest of my life, deny Christ again, ever. Not be ashamed to tell somebody that I believe in Jesus Christ. You know, and I've been Peter in the past, you know, thinking to myself, and you go to church and think that I do believe in Christ, but when somebody asks me, I'll be like, well, I believe there was a Jesus, you know, but no, today I believe in Jesus Christ, and we don't have to walk with our heads down, and it doesn't have to be a sad thing, and we're not, nothing to worry about. That's our job. That's our purpose in life, is to share the word. We have the word, and that's what we need to do. That's how we build God's kingdom. That's how we fear God. That's how we come into submission to God, and that's why we've been studying our Bible study, to submit to God. And it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Submit sounds like a bigger word than it really is, but it's not. It's to be obedient. It's to come into his rule. It's to do, to follow through. Like we was talking about Sunday, to follow through as a Christian. And that's our purpose. That's where we go from here. If we have the word and we don't share it, then we're not doing our job. And we're not doing our job. The one thing, let's see, I got it right here. Ecclesiastes 11:9. This is for you guys. 11:9. Rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and in the sight of your eyes. But know that for all these God will bring you into judgment. Therefore remove sorrow from your heart and put away evil from your flesh, for childhood and youth are vanity. And what he's saying there is just, it's gone. It's gone right now. Time flies so quickly. So quickly. So, that's all I got to say. I just want to end with I love you all. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
What's your blog deal where you talk to everybody every morning?
It's my daily walk as a sheep herder and Christian.
How do they get connected with you?
Just look for that on YouTube.
What under what?
Jack Hillan, right?
Yeah, at Jack Hillan.
At Jack Hillan.
Jack Hillan, if you want to kind of keep up with the sheep herder. The whisperer, yeah, the sheep whisperer. He shows some beautiful pictures up there on the mountain, and at times he's got a great job. At times he's got the worst job in the world. Yeah. So, but anyway, y'all pray for Jack, and that's words of wisdom from a man who spends a lot of time alone, and that's with his sheep. Amen. Anyway, thank you for being here. Appreciate it, Jack. And yeah, the music was great tonight. I enjoyed all the songs tonight. Y'all practicing one that you gonna play later? Is that? I really like it. Yeah, it brought me plumb out of my office. I quit what I was doing to come in here. So anyway, is that gonna be Sunday or not? Huh? Yeah. Anyway, they're working on it, but it's good. Anyway, thank you for being here. We'll see you next time.